Jeff, you tell me when to go, okay? Okay. So I would like to call the June 18, 2025 meeting, Franklin Township Board of Supervisors meeting to order at, it looks like we're at 7 o'clock. Okay, in attendance are, well, Dave's not here. He may come later, so we'll hold out that he comes. Vice Chair Donna D, that's me. And Supervisors Jim Johnston, Dawn Dowling, and Betsy Odgers. Also in attendance are our Township Solicitor, Guy Donatelli. And we have Jeff, Operations Manager Jeff Eastburn, Township Controller and Office Manager Melissa Ortega, and Township Secretary Stacy Hollis. And we also have Stan Corbett here for our MS4, not MS4, your Lexington Point stuff. Okay, so can we stand for a Pledge of Allegiance? All right. So we're going to start today's meeting, as we always do, with public comment. And just a reminder, public comment may include any comments related to tonight's agenda, so it has to be an agenda item. Commenters must state their name and whether they are residents of the township or a non-taxpayer resident. If you do not identify yourself, your comments will not be included in the official minutes. I'm sorry, before I start that, we should do a number of members of the public. What are we looking at? About 10? 1, 2, 3. Anybody online?
7, 8, 9,
Okay,
10.
so about 10? Yes. Okay, great. All right, so let's go to public comments. Does anyone have any public comments? Not hearing any public comments. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. All right, so that would be me. And so what I would like to do is we have the May 21st, 2025 Board of Supervisor meeting minutes. And I make a motion that the board approve the May 21st, 2025 Board of Supervisor meeting minutes. Could I have a second to that? Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Dawn. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay, and then I'm going to make a motion that the board approve the June 2nd, 2025 Board of Supervisors workshop meeting minutes. Could I have a second for that? Okay, Jim, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Okay, motion carries 4-0. Let me turn it over to Jim.
Melissa Ortega is here to give the treasurer's report.
The May 2025 Treasurer's Report includes the following disbursements. The general fund with disbursements and transfers of $123,496.25. The Park and Rec Fund with disbursements of $10,808.05. The Open Space Fund with disbursements of $5,079.90. The Capital Reserve Fund with disbursements of $0. The Emergency Services Fund with disbursements of $0. The Fire Hydrant Fund with disbursements of $580.80. The Wastewater Treatment Plant Fund with disbursements of $0, leaving a balance in all funds totaling $3,581,391.20.
Thank you, Melissa. I make a motion that the board approve the May 2025 treasurer's report as presented by Melissa Ortega. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Donna. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next is the zoning officer's report. This report was compiled by the zoning township officer, Mark Gordon. In the month of May 2025, there were 18 permits issued for $43,671.12 in permit fees, $0 in miscellaneous fees, $0 in recreations and open space fees, $0 in impact fees were collected, and 26 inspections were performed.
All right, thank you, Betsy. Zach Owen is here to talk about the Planning Commission's report for May or June, sorry. June.
Good evening. The commission met on June 5th and a little loud. And our discussion was limited to discussion of land use plan for 100 Walnut Glen Road. The property had been initially gone through the process in 2021 with an intent to use a barn for agricultural purposes, but it has been since repurposed to be an ADU. The discussion was basically around whether or not the plan was sufficient. And the only comment and suggestion that was made was to change the grading somewhat to help with runoff. There was a discussion about compliance with section 22610 of the Franklin Township Code, which has to do with landscaping. But the commission felt that the existing frontage was well enough screened from the road that it wasn't necessary to require any additional landscaping. We voted unanimously to approve it for your consideration.
So Jim, I have questions, but do you have to read the motion first and then we do the questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the land up. I'm going to do that again while my mic's on. I make a motion to approve the land development plan last revised on June 11th, 2025 for 100 Walnut Glen Road, tax parcel number 72-4-13.1 for the Franklin Township Planning Commission's conditional approval made at their June 5th meeting, with no additional landscaping requirements and conditioned upon the applicant addressing all of the outstanding items listed in the Pannoni Engineering letter dated June 12th, 2025, AECom's letter dated May 28th, 2025, and subject to the grading revisions discussed at the Planning Commission's June 5th, 2025 meeting. Before this plan can be recorded, any outstanding invoices must be paid in full by the applicant to Franklin Township. Do I have a second? We have to second first. Okay, thanks, Don. All right, discussion.
So just a couple, oh, sorry, just a couple questions. So one, just for my own mind, trying to get in my head what the sequence of events was. So in 2021, there was an approved development plan, right? But then in 2024, there was like a change of what we want to do. So the desire was to convert the barn to that ADU and also add a new driveway. So that was in 2024. And then they were told that they had to do a land development plan, and that's what they came back with in 2025.
Correct.
Right, okay, so that was the sequence of events. And so then I have a question to the Pannoni letter. So in the Pannoni letter, it says in number 4, something about there's no driveway extension, but there is a driveway extension. So if you look, it says, as there's no new pervious coverage is proposed, no stormwater management or ENS controls required. But the bottom line is there is a driveway extension. I know it's already been covered, but the wording's wrong in my humble opinion, the Pannoni comment letter is not correct.
I don't have it in front of me, but I think the intent, if I understand it was correctly, was that there was no extension beyond what had already been envisioned in the 2021 plan.
So do we know that? Because I thought the 2021 plan didn't include an ADU. I wasn't aware.
Well, not
I
an
don't know, what was
ADU,
it?
but the additional graded land for the driveway, I think was envisioned in that plan, since they were going to have to be able to get to the building.
Oh, is there anyone on?
There's Donna, there's Tom Schreier from Hillcrest Associates tonight. And there is Mr. Roth from Pannoni. So if Tom, if you could answer those questions and then maybe put up the plan, please. You have sharing capabilities.
Yeah, all I want to know is if the driveway was in the 2021 plan, then that would answer that question because it's already been dealt with. You've dealt with it. But if it wasn't in there, then I think the Pannoni letter is not correct. So can someone answer that?
Yes, hi, Tom Schreier with Hillcrest Associates. I am just pulling up the garage plan now. And the driveway was not contemplated as part of the 2021 plan for the barn. Well, I guess really the 2021 plan was the original development of the house. The barn got permitted in 2024. On the original 2021 plan, there was a driveway shown on the barn, but it was not constructed when the house was originally built. On 2024, we shifted the location of the barn slightly, but that plan did not include a driveway at that time. Then we submitted the land development plan to convert the existing barn into an ADU, and we showed the proposed driveway. And I can share my screen here. And
Is that
I can pull up the 2021 plan too, if we would like to look at that as well.
more interested in your letter? Because your letter said there is no driveway extension, but this.
That's technically not my letter. That is,
This Pannoni, okay, but I
the
think
Pannoni
Hillcrest, okay, so maybe Pannoni needs to answer it. But I'm just confused by that.
This is Mike Roth from Pannoni, and Tom can jump in if needed. But my understanding is the impervious contemplated as part of the driveway was already considered for the stormwater management feature down on the south side of the plan. So the additional impervious for this driveway didn't exceed what the design was for. So there's no additional impervious for the design, not necessarily, for the driveway extension.
But I'm just being really anal about this, but your letter is wrong because you can say there's going to be a driveway. There is a driveway, but the impervious, the issue that you have to deal with, the impervious stormwater issue is being dealt with because it was dealt with early on. You have plenty of, you dealt with it, whatever numbers you were doing. The letter's incorrect. I'm not saying I'm not going to vote for the approval, but the letter says there's no driveway. The bottom line is there is. It's just that the presence of that driveway was accounted for from previous numbers that were calculated, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I don't like things that are incorrect. The other thing I want to talk about is oh, I know, it has to do with the people coming that can rent the place. And I don't know if it's Hillcrest or Pannoni, but you said this will be handled later or differently. What's the plans for that? I think it was in the Hillcrest letter. It was.
well,
so
I think
deal with that later.
ultimately Pannoni's made the statement in comment two that says an additional dwelling unit may only be used for long-term occupation and may not be used for a short-term rental.
Right.
We have added a note onto the recorded the plan that you're looking at that states that all that Pannoni is saying is that the board may want to include this as a condition of approval, which, I mean, obviously, if the plan's being recorded and the note is on our plan, that is going to kind of lock in that this is only allowed to be used for long-term rental purposes and not a short-term rental.
And it's taken care of. That's not an issue. It's because you put the notation in the plan, right?
Correct.
Okay,
In my opinion, yes.
Okay, well, you can tell me if that's, and then my third, and I promise my last. When we do the motion, is my understanding we have to have DEP approval before this thing can be considered final. So I was wondering if in the motion, can we add that to the list of things that need to be done? That we have to like, I make the motion to approve everything which you read, Jim, but add in there and DEP approval. Would that be considered, is that okay with everyone?
For me, yes. I mean, ultimately, that would be needed to satisfy AECom's comment letter, which was stated as part of the conditions of the Planning Commission's recommendation.
Yeah, I would like, if you don't mind, just call it out. Okay, so
Perfect.
okay, so I'll turn it over to anybody else that has any questions.
Or do you want me to add it to where it says at the planning commission's June 5th meeting and in accordance with DEP's approval?
Okay.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
You don't
Okay.
have to read it.
Okay. Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor say, oh, is there any more discussion first? Okay. All right, and all in favor then? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 4-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have to do something else? You're good, right?
Yeah.
Be dismissed.
Jim, I think this is still you, right?
Yeah, let me finish it up. I'll read it. There's a note on the motion that says the sewer facilities planning module component 4A has already been approved with the guidance from Stan Corbett by the Franklin Township Planning Commission. Component 4B has been approved by the Chester County Planning Commission, and component 4C has been approved by the Chester County Health Department. By this motion tonight, the Franklin Township Board of Supervisors is taking the final step approval that everyone has seen and reviewed, and allowing the staff to complete the remaining paperwork. So there's another motion that says, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-06 for the adoption for the Gary Fraze Sewage Facilities Planning Module. Do I have a second for that? Dawn, thank you. Any discussion for this?
So Stan, this is just, but once again, back to the same, I'm just confused by this one. Back to what we were talking about. What was the
This is the DEP approval that you have mentioned, and I think clarified the conditions for the development plan. The planning module was approved by the board, and there's still some administrative stuff that staff can do and filling out a few other forms there, but when it goes into DEP reviews it, and once they issue that letter, then at least per DEP regulation, the township can release some development plans to the applicant, but not until then.
Okay, so we kind of covered it by me adding DEP approval to the last one, but now, but this is this is the way we were gonna do it. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, good. And yeah, and you're happy with it, so.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries 4-0.
Now I'm gonna go to new business, and it's kind of like our our business every meeting, which is good, right? We're supposed to do this, and that's about MS4. So I'm just gonna give several items to talk about for the MS4 update. It's all good stuff. So first I'll start off with we know that we're having a DEP inspection in July 30th. This is just a standard thing that DEP does, so nothing to worry about. But in order to get ready for that DEP inspection, Megan from Pinoni came to Franklin Township, met with Jeff and the staff, and had a mock inspection, take them through what they could expect for when DEP came. So this happened last Friday the 13th. Jeff, can I just turn it over to you? Just maybe just a brief update on how it went and any concerns that you may have.
Yes, we had the mock inspection. We went through with our engineer. We were told that we run a pretty tight ship here. They didn't have any concerns, any outstanding items that we had to address. So we all walked away feeling good from it.
All right, excellent. And then the other item that we've talked about for MS4 is the annual report. As folks remember, there was an annual report due September 2024. And between everything happening with new engineers and just us getting our act together, it didn't go in on time. But it's done. We worked with Megan finished it up on the 13th. It's actually, the irony is, if you guys can remember Arrow, it's like maybe a 10-page document. It's really simple, but Arrow made it much more complicated. And with Megan's help, we decided we don't want to deal with anything that Arrow put like a 40-page document together with SOPs and processes, and we're like, no, we're not going there. She said, nobody else ever hands anything in, has you commit to stuff that you don't have to commit to. So that's gone. And it turns the annual report into an 8-page document with a bunch of check boxes. So that's good. We're going to put a cover letter over it, and Megan's writing that now, and we'll look at it tomorrow. And what the cover letter is going to do, it's going to explain why the report's late. It's going to say that we had discussed this with DEP, and we'll reference those contacts. It will talk about the change in engineers. It will talk about the fact that we have a permit now in place, which is a big deal for us. So all that will give DEP comfort. So that's looking good. So we're feeling good about that. And then, of course, we have an annual report due September for 2025. Once again, this is just going to be very simple. We'll start working on it in August with Megan, but I just think that the group should feel this is under control. So we should feel really good about that. And then there's 2 more items left. One's the grants. Remember, we put a grant in November. We probably won't hear about that to the fall of 2025. So we'll, keep on checking back with Megan, but that's going to take a little time. And then we did put in that DCED grant that went in last month. We won't hear about that till the early 2026. So that's something to think about. And then the last item, and I'm going to go back to Jeff on this. Jeff and Melissa, I don't know if you went with him, but remember we had the PRP program with PennDOT? Guy knows this one, right? They visited it. So yes, tell us about it.
We did visit the site. It is along, we're in between 2 Amish farms. So they did show us before photos, and then I took some of the after. So the end goal was to restore the waterway and wetlands to what we were told to 200 years ago. But the before pictures were interesting because of the erosion on the stream bank. So what they did certainly improved the area there. So.
Right. And what we're doing now, if I understand, is done, right? We have to wait for DEP to tell us how many credits that project's worth. Oh, maybe Guy, you have an update. Oh, go.
So you'll recall, last month, we made some modifications to the submission. And that was submitted, and I followed up with Mr. St. Clair late last week or earlier this week, asking him for an update. His response was, I forwarded it along as soon as you got it, gave it to me, and I usually hear immediately if there's a problem. And he hasn't heard that there's a problem, so I'm encouraged by that feedback.
Okay. Someday they're going to ask us for money though, right? So I guess once they get the DEP
Well,
says.
The money will go to the contractor, not the DEP or PennDOT. So I think is it RES? I think it's RES that we'll send the money to.
So we should feel pretty good. Hey, the nice thing is it's done, right?
Correct.
We signed all our paperwork, so we're in on it, right? And now, not me, I didn't do it. And then hopefully DEP says everything's good, and it will take care of one of our programs. So that would be really big. Right?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Good. Be Dave. So back to you guys. So we're going to talk about the solicitor's report. And I think I don't know if you have something between, but then you're going to take us to Lexington Point. There's an amendment. So let me turn it back to you, Guy.
Thank you. Going with the concept that shorter is better. This is the ordinance in front of you, 2025-02, is an ordinance that provides some flexibility for the payment of sewer rents. It was advertised on June 4th, 2025, so we met that requirement. And what it basically does is it provides flexibility with the quarterly payments of the annual sewer rent by giving the person who's responsible for billing some options with respect to that. So it's fairly simple, and it's on page 39 of 43 of the booklet. And I would ask that you consider it favorably and pass this ordinance.
I think we discussed it at the last meeting, but so I'll just read it and then get a second, and then if there's any discussion, and then We'll go from there. And Stan, you're not getting out of it. I have some stuff for you too, so you're here. All right, let me make the motion. I make a motion that the Board of Supervisors approve ordinance 2025-02 and amendment to ordinance 2023-03, adding to Chapter 18, Part 2, Article 3, sewer rents and use, which would include an annual rate for sewer rents shall be payable on a quarterly period. Could I have a second for that? Okay, Jen, thanks. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. The motion goes 4-0. Okay, so now Stan, I would like, I'm assuming you have an update for us. But then I want to ask you some questions about, this ACOM, memo that you sent out, that you responded to some of the stuff that was going on with Lexington Point. And I, just to call your attention, talked about us taking over control in August, and I'm not there yet. So let's, I would like to talk to the board about not being there. So let me just turn it over to you. Give us an update and see where we're at.
If, and I think the memo that I believe the board has that I just sent out with updated notes today, is probably the best point of discussion item for status. And this is a memo that the board received last week. The additional information added in red is just notes from a meeting that took place earlier today, kind of updating status where things are going with each of those items. The general takeaway for most of them is they're minor. The contractor, MGK, and or the operator, EEMA, are on it. A number of things should be resolved within the week. There are other things that are on the developer, Keystone Custom Homes. Some of them should be pretty straightforward. For example, adding a lock to the gate at the drip access drive. The one thing on Keystone's to-do list that I believe will take a little while is addressing the land development plan requirements for a fence between the drip area and lots 1 through most of lot 11. And it appears the intent of that plan is just to make clear to those property owners, this is the end of your yard and don't go beyond here. And so it's certainly not a security fence or anything like that. It's just a visual thing. And in my discussions with Keystone, I asked them to provide the style of fence that they would like to install out there for the township's review and approval, realizing and considering what I imagine Jeff's thoughts would be, that low maintenance is certainly a high priority. So we'll see what they come back with. I'll circle back to the township. Once the township's on board with the type of fence they want to put in, then they're going to have to go ahead and do that. I doubt all that is going to happen within a couple, 3 weeks. I don't know exactly when it is, but one of the takeaways from the meeting earlier is I'd requested that the developers team, who talked through all of these things today, put their heads together and really figure out a projected schedule to get everything done. So the township's not left waiting, surprise, it's done today. And they said they would work on that and get that to us so that we have some good idea of when everything could be ready for the township to take over operations. The general consensus during the meeting today was that could be done before August 1st. But as I said, they're going to develop a schedule. We're going to get some more specifics. So I can't really speak to time details more accurately right now.
I think you've done a fantastic job always working in the interest of the township, but I as one of 5 would be really against them jamming us against the wall saying you got to take it over tomorrow. So they do their stuff, then they come to us. I have in here a meeting, that's fine. Melissa will tell us when she's ready. Jeff will tell us when, and if it takes 2 weeks, takes 3 weeks, it takes what it takes. And we've been good about working with them and trying to, making sure those permits happen, but no one's gonna, I'm not gonna be comfortable being forced into a situation, well, it's August 1st tomorrow, go for it. No. And you're laying it out, right? They have a plan, they gotta meet it, they gotta meet everything, right?
They do. And part of the discussion today was not meeting everything the last day of July, for example, if August 1st is the target. The township is going to need some lead time. Melissa is going to need to know with some level of certainty, all right, I need to start getting bills lined up such and such day. And I suggested at the meeting today that I think 2 weeks lead time would be appropriate to help Melissa get ramped up administratively and not be blindsided with anything. So I believe that will be baked into the schedule they're going to be given with us.
That's Melissa, but we could do it we were doing it second quarter, July 1st. So maybe maybe, we'll see. Like, let's get the schedule, but maybe you wait a quarter. I don't know because we are billing quarterly, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. They sometimes take longer than they expect. So this may not even be an issue. It may be that we're into the third quarter anyways, depending on how fast they move. But we're not rushing her. We're not going to rush Melissa.
No. No. Excuse me. Yeah, no, as I said, I recommend we get their schedule, we get it all done, and the timing is whatever falls out from that.
And you have in here a meeting, and I think that's a grand idea I know definitely you'll have Jeff and Melissa there, but maybe you'll have it so that some other supervisors can attend for information purposes only, not to make decisions. And that would be helpful. Okay, so that's, how about, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, Stan, do you have a comment on the bollards that need to be installed? That's the one thing in here that I didn't understand.
Yeah, there's a gravel access drive for the drip field out there, and sorry, let me move this back a little bit, getting a little bit of feedback. Because of as-built conditions of some of the valve boxes, and these are valve boxes that have lids at the surface, they're very close to the access drive. And as a precaution, obviously, there are going to be pickup trucks, for example, going down that access drive. And if somebody gets a little sloppy and they wander off 5 feet, they're crushing the valve box. So we said we want bollards out there as a protection against them. They do have the bollards made up. It's just a matter of getting scheduled for installation. Installation is going to require a little bit of care because there's a lot of piping in those areas for the drip system. The contractor, the main contractor, MGK, is very sensitive about that. They're going to be on site. They're going to have their subcontractor for the drip system also on site to look over Keystone Shoulder. They're going to notify me, and I'll have somebody come by and take a look as well. So the risk, we'll have triple redundancy on protecting the drip piping out there when they're doing that. So I'm pretty comfortable we'll be okay. Sure.
I just wanted to give a big shout out to Melissa because I was here at the first of the week in the office doing something else, but she showed me the software and all the paperwork and all the letters and all the stuff that she's prepared. And it's absolutely, I was astounded. So just a shout out to Melissa for all the good work on that.
And it's a good point, and I think the Lexington Point residents should give her a shout out too, because what we could have done is farmed it out to a third party, and that would have been another expense that would have added to the sewer fees. And the fact that you could put that together yourself on your normal work day, they should be kneeling. I mean, that's phenomenal. That you saved them a lot of money. Any other comments? Stan, I don't know if this goes to you or Guy, but there used to be a pool issue. Someone built a pool no, that's done. Good. All right. I'm going there. Not here. Got it. All right. No problem. Happy to move on. Guy, anything more from you or Stan before we?
Nothing from me.
Okay. Okay, great. Boy, this is moving along. All right. So tell me, do I have this right? Dawn, it's going to you, right?
Well, we're skipping Paul Agassi's.
That's my understanding. So Paul,
Okay.
and we have, he sent his update
Yes.
in the book, so we're not gonna, unless there's any questions, we could send them to Jeff. Jeff, we're gonna skip Paul, we have in the book, right?
Except for the bridge, then again, he flashed it, we'll make sure with all of this.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. I have all kinds of newsy notes, but I'm going to push them off to next time because my partner in crime and several of us in the room have been working our butts off for our next wonderful program that's going to be on Saturday. And we're so excited about it. And we've added another component. I would like all of you, if you can just stop over. I've invited everybody to just come over, and we're going to have a meet and greet at the garden. And that's so everybody can come. That's not so you have to work in the garden. It's so you can enjoy the garden, see what we're doing. And Mary McVeigh is coming and Joanne Williams is coming. So I'm going to be able to show them and thank them.
There's food.
And we're having a welcome back the bees tea. So we're going to have tea and lemonade, and we're going to have treats. But if you bring treats, that would be lovely to share. And then we're going to have the next master gardener do a program on Meet the Plants. And she's going to pick the plants that are blooming and tell you what you can use in your yard, what you get, the pros and cons of how they grow. And then we're going to talk about how to do that Chelsea cut, which is how to trim back some of those taller plants. But I'm real excited about it, and it's an educational program that's new to our garden. So this is the second, and the third one will be, and this is for the summer solstice, and the next one will be September 20th in conjunction with the small fall festival we're working on.
That's this Saturday, right?
That's this Saturday, starting at noon.
We've got the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Report by Heather. I know we sent it in. Is she online?
Heather was online, but she isn't at this point. I know she had some stuff to do, meetings on her own, something different. So she just wanted me to make sure that, you saw her report. You can accept it as written. And then if you have any questions, we can certainly shuttle those directly to Heather. Not a problem.
So should we just say we accept it as written? I don't know if anybody
I
has.
had two corrections.
Yeah, of course. Okay, go for it.
I just had two corrections. On the Mason-Dixon Trail, I'm not working on that. So that she had me as listed as getting a history presentation together, and that's not me. So I don't know who that's gonna be, but that'll be somebody else. And just FYI, I had somebody picked out, several people picked out to help with the parade that the library wanted to do, but the library canceled it because they didn't have enough people to work on the parade. So we're not so we will put all our efforts now into our next fall festival for that year. And then also, I just wanted to make a little comment about the poison hemlock because I was told that we took care of it. Well, poison hemlock over in Franklin has to be mowed over and over and over. Poison hemlock is like poison ivy. It's going to keep coming back, and it's still growing on the sides of the road. So Jeff and I and people, we're talking about the remediation of poison hemlock, but there's different veins you have to take to get rid of it completely. So what we're doing right now is we're mowing it down before it goes to seed, which will cut it back, but that doesn't alleviate it. So everybody still be careful about going out there and getting into that stuff because it's really nasty and some of us know about it. So that's all
I'll just say thanks to the pro for providing all the detail here. Usually the pro report is not this detailed, and it gives us something to look back to. So thank you.
Hi, guys. So we finally got an email from John Hollis with an update on the final task force meeting where they'll present the master plan draft to the board, to the task force. Apparently, picking one date that works for everyone out of the list of 6 or 8 dates that they gave us is proving to be very difficult. So they've chosen 2 separate dates to hold 2 meetings. Task force members are only required or asked to go to one of these 2 meetings. They will be on July 31st and on August 5th. I intend to go to both meetings. I don't like that we're splitting the task force up to go over the final master plan draft because we should be doing that together. We've done everything else together and collaborated so long that it doesn't make sense. So I intend to go to both. I've not been told that I can't go to both. They sent another survey out asking us which date we were coming to, and I filled out both dates. So we'll see what happens. But July 31st and August 5th, and by that time, we'll have the final draft of the master plan. We'll go over it, give them our feedback. And my assumption, depending on how much feedback they get, is that by early fall, they'll be doing a public presentation.
And Tia, the split dates for the final draft, is it like an A and a B, or is it supposedly fully taken care of when? each
So-
time, like a repeat?
Apparently, it's just a repeat meeting because my assumption is they looked at the dates that everybody filled out on the original survey, and everybody could go to either one or the other, but nobody could go to the same date. So my assumption is this is just so that every task force member has a date that they're available. That's why they said the task force members only needed to go to one of the two meetings because it's just going to be a repeat, and the only thing that changes is the task force members and what their feedback is. So in an effort not to miss any of the feedback, I intend to go to both. And right, and Eileen Butler, who's the other representative, she couldn't be here tonight, but she intends to go with me to both. So we'll keep an eye and make sure that all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed, and report back as soon as we know what this master plan looks like.
Is it possible that they'll actually change something based on your feedback, or you just think you've had all that, that the conversation's already happened and this is what it is, and you're there to listen?
I'd like to think that if the majority of us have similar feedback and have an issue with something, that they will revisit that. Again, I can't guarantee that they would do that. They get very entrenched in their plans. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It depends on where their heads are at as far as how committed they are to what the plans look like. But I would like to think that if the majority of us disagree with something that they put in that plan, that they'll revisit it.
May I ask a question? Sorry, I wasn't here at the very beginning, but Antia, why don't we just hold it off for public comments anymore?
That's right, it's next.
Yeah, no, we're very.
I have a question. Sure. Can anyone else go?
So that was my question too. So it's the task force meetings are not open to the public. However, because they're dividing the task force, my thought was, why couldn't some of the townships or other stakeholders come to the meeting if they want to? So why couldn't one of the county commissioners come down, or one of the township people, like, one of the supervisors send a representative, something like that? I don't know that they'll allow it, but it was one of the questions that I had. So I was gonna send a message to John Hollis and suggest that perhaps, since you're doing it that way, you could open it up to some of the stakeholders to allow them to show.
You can say that we don't ask.
No, and that's, yeah, right. No, I can do it that way too. But as far as the general public, that would have to wait until they do their general public presentation in the fall, which I'm assuming is going to be the same as the way they did the original Lincoln University meeting.
Be good if you ask, and then we'll.
Yeah, I'll send an email. I'll CC you guys on the email. And that way, hopefully we'll get a response relatively quickly.
All right, so I think I'm going to move to public comments. We good? All right. All right, so now we're going to do public comments. This time, the public comments can include comments on anything attendees might want to share. Commenters must state their name and whether they are township residents or a taxpayer of the township. All right. Okay.
Nancy Moore. All right, Nancy Morris, resident. Antia, is there a goal for us as residents to have trails through all the areas of the state? Do most people agree with that, or what's the thinking on that? Because I would really like to have access to all the areas of the state park.
That's part of the master planning process.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys want me to get up. I don't know how to.
That
way I'm recorded.
Yeah, come on.
So part of the master planning process was detailing, I don't like turning my back to you.
It's okay.
Was detailing
My back to the.
exactly all the different aspects of what we would have in the state park. And trails was actually one of the main things that everybody agreed on. We want trails. We want different types of trails. We want multi-use trails. We discussed having an ADA compliant trail. We discussed trails on both sides of the park and how they would be accessed. And with that came the discussion of parking lots and things of that nature. So that's all part of the master plan. Where we deviated in our discussions was the amount of infrastructure being built. Because if you want people to come out and experience nature and experience what we have here, building it up doesn't do that, right? That's counterintuitive to having that open nature experience. So that is,
That's kind of what I was wondering. And it seems like several small parking lots may be the way to go to avoid, yeah. Okay, and that leads me to, last time I came, I thought I'd never come back to board meetings, but last time I came to talk about Mount Olivet, and I love that trail. It is flat and it is shady, and it is literally the only flat, shady trail in the township, and the township taxpayers pay for it. So at the meeting, Dave said because of safety concerns, the parking area was closed. I confirmed it is definitely on public land, but whatever. Forget what land it was on. He said it wasn't safe. So I've been parking on Johnson Lane because that is literally the only place you can park legally and access the trail. And it does mean walking down Walker Road, but I have an older dog and that's what we do. The first time we parked there, the state police were called. The state police kindly told me I was absolutely in the right to park there. It's legally okay to park on Johnson Lane. It's a public road, and I was on the verge. The next time I parked there were sticks all around my car. So today when I parked there, I was basically stalked. And I think we need to either find a way to access that road for the residents who pay for it, or we need to come up with something else that is safe. I looked at, there's a trail to Brothers Riding. Benjamin Lane seems to go to the state park, so you could just extend the trail. I know, Antia, you talked about not wanting to do the state park's job, but I want to access the trail. I pay to get it mowed. I pay to get things taken off it. I don't know what the answer is. I don't want to wait 3 years. So my concern today is, what do we do to allow the public to access public trails? Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if, guys, it's something you want to, is it the township's responsibility to make sure there's parking?
No, it's not, especially if the township has made a determination that the parking is dangerous or creates a dangerous condition. I'm not sure I know enough to comment about the sticks around the car or what the Pennsylvania State Police said about the legality of parking there. I presume there's no parking sign. I presume there's no ordinance preventing it. It's probably to be determined on a case-by-case basis. The township doesn't want to have parking along that road, then it can do that if it wishes. And to the extent that there are folks who might put sticks around a car when they think that car's on their property, that's a private property issue. That doesn't involve the township. So that's an unsatisfactory response, a long way of saying I don't really think I know enough about the situation.
But I think you made the point. It's not our job, the township's job, to reconcile. Like if there's someone putting sticks around a car, then we can do about that. And it's not our job to make sure there's a parking available.
Correct.
Well, I'm sorry to say, Nancy, that it's going to take some time. We can't pay $10,000 for a parking lot. Even if we wanted to, we couldn't right now. We can't. And we're all having to wait. Auntie has had to wait years. We're trying to work to make that park something that's going to be good for all of us. We're all going to have to wait. We're all going to have to give up something to make that everything accessible for everybody. And if DCNR is going to put in a parking lot, why would we spend $10,000 to put in a parking lot? Because if we put it in, we're going to be responsible for it.
I think we spent $10,000 eliminating a parking lot
Well, I wasn't here then, so I don't know anything about that, but
by moving the gate and putting all the blocks.
well, there were many significant reasons that was done.
That was never a parking lot in the first place.
Area.
Yep.
That was agreed when the road was closed, right? No?
Well, we
There
never
was-
agreed that would be a parking area, but
There
I know
was-
you might think it was a parking lot because people used to park there, but that's where the safety issue became aware to us. And that's why we voted on it, how we did.
So maybe we shouldn't pay to maintain it. What's the point of us paying to maintain it?
Maintain what?
The road, it gets mowed, trees get cut down, we spent money to put those boulders there. What's the point?
So it didn't cost 10.
Residents can't access it.
They can access it. Some people do it. Yeah.
Don can access it, Antia can access it, Dave can access it. No one else.
My understanding is other people access it too. I don't, JR, do you want to, I don't want to call you up. Do you want to make it? Because it was your private property that was being. Hold on.
I live on the property she's discussing,
It's a bird.
and basically,
Look at the second line.
I'm used to it. She followed me with my grandson when I was carrying him, screaming until he cried. I understand. But anyway,
Just state your
basically,
name. Just
what
state,
I liked.
JR, just state your name for the record, just so.
I'm sorry,
Just-
John Griffith, resident. What I heard of last meeting, Dave said first to the end, it was moved, the gate was moved because it was a very dangerous safety issue. I looked up PennDOT and they talk about sight distance. Sight distance is everything. I've been here almost 50 years, 40 years on that side of the 896, 10 on the other side. I've been there for 40 years. It was a road that was pretty much hardly ever used. Some very unsettling things that happened, but that is what happened. That's gone. What basically happened was that the big bridge down there was deemed that it needed to be repaired. Money was spent. They just can't have the farm machinery, the trucks, the cars. At Jim Nolan's end, there's a really, really old stone bridge that was deemed that it cannot have vehicles. That's why that was closed. But first and foremost, it's a safety thing. If you leave and turn to the left, going on the curve to the church, you may have 35 or 40 feet of sight distance, maybe. I think PennDOT says that they do it by speed limit, 25 miles an hour is one. I think for 35 mile an hour, it's either 180 or 200 feet sight distance, and it is not there. And I come around because I live there, I come around the curve quite a bit. I go like maybe 5 miles an hour knowing that somebody could be pulling out. Back before the gate was moved out, there was a different, David said that there was the four-wheelers tried to go around it. One time a truck tried to go around it and he wound up in my stream. So you don't understand Chesco views versus a real thing. It's surveyed by Hillcrest Associates.
The opinion.
Why don't we do
this? Why don't we use the direct your comments to the board?
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
So anyway, the whole point is that it's very worrisome. I'm going around slow. I am always thinking that back when the gate was not moved out, trucks, there was a lot of hunters, a lot of cars. Some of them, it was like at times 6 to 8 cars and trucks. 1 or 2 would be out a little bit on the road. So a person coming around the curve, all of a sudden there's like a bed of a truck in the road. Hats off to the whole board for saying this is not safe. It's not PennDOT approved anyway, and we don't want to wait till somebody's seriously hurt or killed to go, oh, I guess we need to do something. I don't like that. I'm very happy that you did that. The idea, I think, is that now because I live there, they're going to park on my property and show me what's what. Somebody, before we came up to the meeting, was parked there and left big rivets in my grass. And that's about the 6th time somebody had done that at least. And it's like, I think when you understand, if you go out in your front lawn and you see a car there or a truck that's not occupied and it's locked, it's worrisome. I called the police about 2 weeks ago on a certain truck because it was unoccupied, it was locked, abandoned, and I was worrisome. And they said, we would like to send somebody out. I did not request that somebody come out. I wanted to get some information on what should I do. They said, we'll send somebody out. They did they sent a car out. They said that this is a bit of a township issue with right of way, but having this here, I can see why you're concerned. Well, I had to bring my baby grandson down along because no one else was home. I'd babysit. And while I was talking with him, an individual came up Walker Road on a bike screaming at the police, give me a ticket, whatever. They came up. I said, I'm not staying here. I'm taking my baby back up to the house. So I started walking up the hill. They detained the person for about 3 minutes. And then she passed them by and followed me on the bike screaming until my baby cried. And then they came right up and detained her and I went into my house. And that's the kind of intimidation I've been seeing, the kind of unrest I've been having. I know it's just grass, but to me, it's a little more than just grass. And I think that I've looked up about right-of-ways, and right-of-ways are basically known as utility right-of-ways, energy, electric, cable, telephone, things like that. They're not intended to be public parking. And that's it. And as far as sticks, the individual we're talking about parked on my lawn. I couldn't mow my lawn. So then I decided to collect dead branches and stuff like that. I pull them to the road. I come them down after I get them all out on the road. I put them in my pickup truck and I take them down to my barn. And that's the story. And I think basically, I think everybody could feel that, I'm going to say it again, that I am very happy they stopped the parking before somebody got injured, a little kid on the bike. The other thing with access is that there's 3 parking lots for Big Elk Creek. There is Peacedale, there is 841, and there's Strickersville. And then beyond that, we're so lucky. When Willie DuPont owned all this, he owned 8,000 acres. Maryland has 5,500. George Strawbridge bought 2,500, whatever. And Maryland has 5 parking lots. So you're not only limited to enjoying our area, you've got 5 parking lots. That's 2 on Appleton Road and various other spots. We're also lucky to have at least 5 parking lots on the White Clay Creek, just down the road by Tickington or Indian Town Road. So we're very lucky, blessed with open land. I love it. I love seeing people walk there. When COVID started, I was thrilled how many people started coming out and walking, especially on Strickersville, because Strickersville has good parking. It's completely level and it's completely in the shade. Peacedale is a little more hilly. If you come down the hill, you have access from Peacedale onto Mount Olivet Trail. So there's been a little sway of opinions or representation here. And that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, and I would like to bring up the fact that when these roads were closed in the beginning, I was thrilled that we were getting trails. And not every one of them is going to be able to have a parking lot. Franklin doesn't have a parking lot. There's another road that I'm dying to have closed because the kids go down and they party and they dump filth and they kill themselves and they overdose. And the best thing we've ever done is to close these roads off as trails. Not everyone can have a parking lot. Eventually, if we get them mushed together, but we won't know. I mean, we don't even know what's happening over there. It is.
They keep open.
So's Franklin. So's Franklin. Correct. We have another one that you can't get to. We're not rich people, but every.
Live right off Franklin Trail. Yeah, just.
We're going to allow our board member to speak, and then you may make your comment. I don't, this sort of
Thank you.
exchange is disorderly.
Thank you. My point is that when we close these roads, hallelujah, we have more open space, we have less crime, we cut down on the kids getting in trouble, and we've got more open space. Not everyone is going to have a parking lot until they get merged together or until we figure out a trail system or something. but it can't happen all overnight. It's not going to happen that way. I'm just,
Concern is you happen to live off Franklin Trail. John's thrilled. I'm sure his property value's gone up because he doesn't have a parking lot there. There are always problems with parking lots. There are problems with people. We could close Crossan Park. We've had suicides there. We've had problems there. So let's close it. Let's just close it up.
We
You
Just
see
make
my
your comments.
point,
Just
but
make your.
the main thing we need to know, Guy, is what is the law? I thought there's a public verge. That's what the state police told me. That means I can park up to 3 feet off the public road that I pay to get paved and I pay to get whatever, snow blown. What is the law? That's all I need to know. If I'm allowed to park there, I'm going to park there. And I don't want to be harassed by someone who thinks it's his creek, his road, his grass. That's all I need to know.
So I just like to say that as a reminder that at the last meeting, Dave said it well, that we are waiting for what happens at Big Elk Creek, number one. And then I don't think this is a forum to have a resident versus resident debate, right? It's not, right? Okay, that's all I want to say.
Are there any other comments?
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
My name is Sean Auerbach. I'm a Franklin Township resident for the last 46 years that I pay taxes here. My comments are going to be related to outdoor recreation spaces. Okay, I'm speaking right now. Recent discussions on social media have focused attention on the configuration of the Mount Olivet Trail and its less than ideal accessibility. The purpose of my comments is to put this minor disadvantage into perspective with other outdoor recreation venues within Franklin Township. I do not intend these comments to be adversarial, but only to point out the wide range of opportunities that are available to Franklin Township residents should Mount Olivet accessibility be an obstacle. Franklin Township offers a diverse array of outdoor recreation opportunities, catering to a wide range of preferences from manicured parks to rugged natural preserves. Each site offers unique characteristics in terms of access. These range from easily accessible locations with convenient parking to remote sites with no adjacent parking, requiring more effort to reach. Access can be influenced by various factors, including terrain, access to roadways, private property, and other site-specific issues. Some locations require visitors to park safely at a distance and hike or bicycle in, making them better suited for individuals with a higher level of physical fitness, desire for exercise, and sense of adventure. For others, there are many other recreational spaces that are easily accessible and demand less physical effort and less risk. And I'm just going to go very quickly through a list of some that are available in Franklin and some that are available immediately adjacent to Franklin. We have Crossan Park at 116 acres. It's a traditional park with paved and unpaved trails, ball fields, tennis courts, and other traditional elements. The Ford Farms, 149 acres, perimeter trail and mowed grass. Franklin Preserve is 79 acres with trails. Goodwin Preserve, 17 acres of undeveloped scrubland with a water feature. White Clay Crescent at 29 acres. Bamshire at 61 acres, trails and water feature. White Clay Knoll, 37 acres with trails and water feature. Stonegate, 56 acres of undeveloped land. Mount Olivet, 3 acres, decommissioned road trail. It's 7/10 of a mile long, 33 feet wide. That's where you get the 3 acres. Natural Lands Trust has 156 acres in trails, and the Keene Trail has 85 acres in trails. Just outside of Franklin Township, there are 2 other venues on our eastern and southern borders. URL links can easily be found with a simple Google search. You have White Clay Preserve. It's 1,388 acres with trails and water feature. They feature hiking, biking, fishing, hunting, horseback riding, and winter recreation. You have Fair Hill Natural Resources Management Area. It's 5,700 acres. Fair Hill is known for its pristine fields, woodlands, and natural beauty. It features hiking and equine trails. So I think the point is that there's an enormous choice here for outdoor recreation. So if you can't get into Mount Olivet, there's plenty of other places you can get into that are easier. But if you want to get into Mount Olivet, you could park up here. You could walk down Walker Road or bicycle down, or you could come in from Franklin Road to reduce your exposure to traffic. I think the comments are pretty pointless related to Mount Olivet. No further comments.
Thanks, John. I think there's another gentleman that would like to comment. You're coming from, oh, yeah. What's your name?
My name is Michael Corcoran and I work for Elk Township. And it's unrelated to your issue with the Mount Olivet, but I wanted to keep the townships on the same page because about a year ago, DCNR asked us both if we minded, do you want us to advertise your trails on our maps or not? And both townships said no, which they weren't removed from the maps. And our issue got worse because they advertised our Spring Lawn parking lot as a parking location for all the fishermen this year. So now we're getting complaints about, we can't even park when we come to your park or for the trail, and the residents aren't happy about it. So I had sent several emails. We just didn't get a response following up to see, can you guys rectify this? And our next step would be to have our solicitor send a letter about it. I don't think the townships need to be on the same letter, but I want to at least let you know that that's the direction that we're going, just so we're on the same page. And that's it. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Hey, Donna, we have a question online from Mr. Noland.
All right, Mr. Nolan, we turn it over to you. You're a resident?
Yes, Jim Noland. I'm a resident of Franklin Township of 54 years, actually. I am the owner of the property on the other end of Mount Olivet Trail, opposite of Mr. Griffith. And so I've been paying attention to this issue, and I'm just curious what everyone had to say. And I like all the comments I hear. I'm grateful to the supervisors for removing some of the safety hazards that they have. I hear one of the supervisors say to please be patient. Big Elk Creek's trying to figure out some alternate parking, and I couldn't agree more. We all do have to be patient. There's a lot of support for the trails for everyone, but we need to be patient and let it be designed in the appropriate places. A little aside from that, Antia, I appreciate as a member of the task force and her comments tonight. I'm also one of those members of the task force, and like Antia, I also plan to go to both of those meetings to make sure our voices are represented as they have been the whole way. And lastly, I can appreciate John's comments. He's lucky if he's only had 5 or 6 times that someone's parked in his grass, because I've got pictures probably of 20 times where we come home and we see cars pulled off in our grass, even in as far into our mulch. I've fixed my invisible dog fence at least 5 times from cars that break it, that think it's okay just to kind of pull off and park in our property. I'm adamant that everyone should enjoy this preserve and this property, but it is truly safety issues, and I share some of the same comments that John has tonight. So I just wanted to chime in and have a chance to say that on the record. Thanks to you all, and that's all I have on that. I won't go on any further. Thanks.
Thank you. So, no, I'm going to close public comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Talking about safety, I spoke with Dave and he said that there was possibility or probability of doing a traffic safety study on that. I've documented the cars that come and park there. I got the license plates, but the big thing was I have my most recent, well, other than the individual tonight parking, to set a little standard for the meeting tonight. The last time there was a UPS truck trying to get by, and she was out on the road on the blacktop and on my property, and the UPS truck, no, FedEx, whatever, it was coming by. I have a picture of it. He was on the other whole the leaving side, and he was coming in that way. And of course, at that point, the only 2 cars were her and he on the wrong side. But I stopped him. I said, this could be a problem. He said, this could be a problem. And now that luckily the school is closed for the summer, because we have 4 different buses come in and out. We have UPS trucks, we have FedEx trucks, we have trash, we have like probably 3 different trash companies that come in there. And for them, and it worries me because I have 4 kids, they're all older now, but the kids going down on bicycles. And then they're coming up and here's a car halfway into the street. There's a car swerving to get by them. And the kids aren't thinking of that because she just started doing this as a bait, whatever, about 3 weeks ago. And so once again, what you guys did with there was never a parking, what you did with that was great. I think you've avoided something that could have been serious. On our road, it's not as bad as that, but when people are parking there, and the other thing is that when hunting starts, I think it takes a rare person to want to park on somebody's lawn, but should that happen, there were up to like 6 to 8 trucks that would park down at the other spot during hunting season, September to January 25th or something. That could pose a real problem with the trucks there and kids on bikes, me with my little baby in the stroller and other things like that, that just aren't meant to have a public parking lot. And I was hoping that we can do something with an ordinance or something that just says, we don't, not that we don't like you, but this is not safe. And we're doing it for adults, kids, whatever. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, JR. All right, so I'm going to close it now, I think. Okay.
Oh, so
Okay, that's good. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to adjourn the meeting. So I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting at 8:12. Thanks. And a second by Jim, that's his job. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.